Welcome to Living the Way, hosted by Pastor Charlie and Dr. Melanie Jimmerson. Step back and join us as we take a closer look at how the Bible really can and does apply to our lives today. We really do value your feedback, so write a comment and don't forget to share so your friends will be blessed as well.
Welcome to Living the Way.
Man, it is.
It is. It's a great day, and it's a good place, a good thing to live, is live the way.
Well, let's talk about sharing.
Okay.
Because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I've noticed that I've gotten some feedback on are you able to share to me, and that kind of thing. And so let's talk about that for just a minute.
Okay.
So you have to, first of all, you need to be friends. You have to be friends with me.
Right.
And I accept every friendship. I may not know people, but if they think they know me, I'm go ahead and accept it.
Right.
And then I can share my stuff, things that interest me, including this right there on my Facebook. You can too.
Right.
So,
yes, please share our posts, whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on YouTube. We're on both platforms. So.
Please, YouTube is good,
and like, and not, or get thumbs up. I think it is.
Give us some kind of indication of the fact that this is going to be good.
And if you ever have any comments, just go ahead and comment.
Yeah,
we enjoy the feedback.
We do.
But we're going to be talking about something similar to that.
Something I really don't know that much about.
But today's topic is Giving Tuesday.
So we've got Thanksgiving on Thursday. Okay,
well,
and then we've got
Thursday.
Cyber Monday.
Yeah, well, we got
Good Friday.
We got Black Friday.
Oh, Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Okay,
then
Thursday,
you've got
Friday,
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
And then you have Giving Tuesday.
Okay. Now, is that all taking place in November?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's Giving Tuesday?
Black Friday is when companies normally come, and big corporations, they come into profit on Black Friday. That's the reason it's called Black Friday.
From red to black.
From red to black. Because if you're not making money, everything's in red.
Right.
Once you start making money, things start in black. And that's why they call it Black Friday. But then right after Black Friday, of course, that's all those because of the Black Friday sales.
Oh yeah.
Because that's starting the Christmas season.
Right.
And so the Black Friday, got all those sales. People are in stores. They're buying, a bunch of stuff because of the sales. And they
gifts.
move into profit, which is good. Well, right after Black Friday, the following Monday, the internet didn't want to give up, so they're going like, well, we're going to do a Cyber Monday. And that's when you got all these deals from Amazon or, whoever,
other places have really jumped on it.
Yeah, they've all jumped on it. And so it's Cyber Monday where you can get deals. Well, right after that, it changes to the Tuesday after Cyber Monday is Giving Tuesday. And it calls for people to actually give back.
Right.
Give back through donations, volunteering, maybe acts of kindness.
Pay it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward.
All those things.
Let me tell you, if you want to just do something simple, if you've never done anything on Giving Tuesday, I want to give you an easy thing to do.
Okay.
When you go get something at a fast food place, give an extra $20 and say, I want to put $20 for the next person. And if they don't, if it doesn't use that whole 20 for the next person, just keep taking it off until it's gone. And that's called paying it forward.
Right. I've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Too.
In fact, I've been the recipient of that.
All right.
I've gone into, in fact, I believe last time it was at a Starbucks. Now, I don't do Starbucks too much anymore. They got too expensive for me. But
I don't like their coffee.
Yeah. But anyway, I went in and I'm going like, how much? And they're going like, well, the person before you paid. I'm going like, really? I said, well, that's great. But then I took money out of my pocket and said,
there you go.
Here, I want to pay the next person.
Yeah.
Now that's happened to me a couple times at a Starbucks when we were going to Starbucks quite often. It was inside and also through the drive-through. I'm going like, really? The person right in front of me paid for my order? Says, yeah. In fact, they paid exactly what your order was.
Wow.
And I said, how'd they know what my order was? They asked me. They asked not what it was, but how much was it, and they paid for it.
Wow.
And I'm going like, well, that's pretty good. Here's my card. Pay for the car behind me.
Yeah.
Let's do it that way. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do that way. I've heard of people paying it forward as far as being in line at a grocery store.
Right.
And see,
really helps.
Somebody that is struggling or something, maybe counting change out, and they go and say, hold on just a minute. Give the cashier a card and said, I'm going to pay for their order, their whole groceries.
Let me tell you what
and if you're able to do that, do it.
Witness. What a witness for the Lord that is.
Yeah.
Especially if you're walking around with some kind of pin or some kind of indication of. I wear a necklace.
Yeah.
He always wears
Where's
his
the
pin.
pin? Says,
Everybody
Jesus is coming.
That's going to look at you is going to know that you follow the Lord. Well,
right.
Here, what better way to exercise your right?
Yes.
Your rights in it as a believer in the Lord than to give somebody something.
Right. And for Christians, this is more than a campaign. Giving Tuesday is more than a campaign. And for Christians, it shouldn't be just on one Tuesday.
Right.
Okay. No. Just like Thanksgiving. We talked about Thanksgiving, last week. And Thanksgiving is not just a day. We ought to be thankful all the time. Well, guess what? We ought to be givers all the time. Right. The word does say, given it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Right. Will God pour into your bosom, okay? Right. So, guys, we ought to be givers. Why should we be givers? Because we serve a God that gives.
Right.
And gave so much, so we ought to be givers too. It's actually a chance to live out our faith by reflecting the heart of God.
Right.
That's God's heart.
That's something that really does teach people a lot about the Lord, and that is that the Lord is generous. The Lord is generous. If you don't know the Lord, you don't know that.
Right.
But if through His followers we are generous, people are going to assume, they got it from their relationship with the Lord. Okay, so the Lord is generous. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a really good witness. Right. It's really good. We need to do that more.
And Giving Tuesday is just a few days away.
So every Tuesday.
Saturday.
Make every Tuesday Giving Tuesday.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
now
do
that I know what Giving Tuesday all is,
yes.
I like that. I might just inculcate that into my life.
It's actually a day that we can turn our gratitude for what God has done into an action. Mm-hmm. To give because we have been given so much. Mm-hmm. What a wonderful idea. In fact, Acts chapter 20, I've got some scriptures here. Acts chapter 20, verse 35 said, you should remember the words of the Lord Jesus. Mm-hmm. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Now, guys, I want to make sure that you understand that this scripture is not saying it's not good to receive.
Yeah, don't take it that way.
I tell you what, I have been blessed many times. And when I really needed a blessing, those times really mean a lot to me. Okay, yeah. And but the thing is, I've actually been blessed and received when I didn't need.
Oh,
and I the first time this ever happened to me, I'm going like. I was kind of, do I take this? And it was actually cash. Mm-hmm. Someone said, the Lord, told me to give you this money. And I'm going like,
wow.
I'm wondering, should I take, Lord, I don't have a need for this. What's going, but I took it kind of sheepishly because it was the first time it ever happened and said, thank you. And, I kind of put it in my pocket. And I want you to know.
Is this okay?
I got a phone call.
All right.
Right after that person left. And it was about a family in our neighborhood. And it was at Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
And they had, the husband got out of work. All they had was a little thing that the wife had. She didn't have a major job because they had kids, and so it was like, I'm going like, they said, is there anything or anybody that can help? And I'm thinking,
well, yeah, look around.
and I counted out that money, and I'm telling you, it was several hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
That person
And
just
that's
come
what it
up
would
to
take
give to me.
to give this person,
Yes.
this family, a good Christmas.
And I'm going like, yes, it's already taken care of. I said, what's their address? It was really around the corner from my house.
Wow.
And I left my house and I went over there and I just knocked on the door and I said, hi, I said, I'm Pastor Charlie, and started talking to him. And I said, well, I understand that you're all having some difficulties. And they said, well, yeah. And I just
they don't
pulled it
wanna
out
admit
and
it.
I just handed them an envelope. I did put it in an envelope because I didn't want them to count it there, but they did.
Yeah.
They opened it up and counted it, and I'm going like, and they're going, well, thank you. And I'm going like, look, it's not me.
Yeah.
I said, God had that money given to me to give to you.
Yeah.
And they're going like, wow.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
And it was just so amazing. But it's not bad to receive, even if you need it or you don't need it.
Right.
It
Who
is a
doesn't need it?
blessing.
Who
But
doesn't
it
need it?
is more blessed, it says,
Yes.
to give. Now, if you have never given something to somebody just out of the kindness of your heart, just for no reason at all, you just did it because God prompted you to do it, you don't know what being blessed is all about. Because when you do that, you'll find out how blessed it is to give.
My friend over in Baytown she was in line behind a lady with 2 or 3 little kids, and she was really struggling with the kids at the checkout.
Right.
Because the kids get bored and they're ready to go, and it's taking too long to check out, and she came up short.
Oh,
Well, now it's going to take more time, and she's got a baby on her hip and all these kids and all this kind of stuff. And so my friend says, how much short is she? And they told her, and so she just pulled it out of her pocket and paid for it. And so later I said, what was your criteria for that? And she said, I looked at what she bought. It was all for the kids. There wasn't any beer in there. There wasn't any cigarettes in there. There was nothing but just sheer meeting the needs. And so she said, I usually don't pay any attention to what goes on ahead of me in line, but it was so obvious that this woman was really struggling to pay for these 3 children's food. There was nothing in there for her. There was nothing frivolous in there.
Right.
And so it made the difference in this woman's being able to buy all the groceries that night.
right. Well, I had a similar instance, and now it didn't happen to me. I wasn't there, but I know both women that this happened to.
Okay.
Okay. They lived in the same area, but they worked downtown Houston.
Okay.
In the same building, not for the same company, but in the same building.
Okay.
And so they would carpool.
Oh,
Now,
That's
they
good.
they both went to the same church that I went to. That's why I know this story very well.
Okay.
Well, they would carpool, but one week one would drive, the next week the other one
that's
would
how
drive.
you carpool. That's
Yeah.
right.
And so one day, this person is carpooling, and she drives up, and it's this person begging for money on the corner. And she rolls down her window, she pulls out a $20 bill
Wow.
and hands it to him. And as soon as they drove off, the other one, now they're both Christians, said, you shouldn't have did that. Why not? It says, well, they're probably going to go right in that store right there and get a bunch of beer or cigarettes or something, They're going to do that. And
Not
she
for
says,
us to judge.
And she says, well, now hold on just a minute. She says, God prompted me to give him that $20. And so what I'm responsible for is what God told me to do.
Right.
He told me to give, I gave. Now, whatever he does with that money, that's between him and God.
Right.
Not between, it's had nothing to do with me. So sometimes I sure wish, and I think that there ought to be restrictions on government-funded programs that's given money for food and different things like that. Yeah, that ought to be for food. It shouldn't be for cigarettes, shouldn't be for beer, shouldn't be for things like that. It should be for things that they need, and not the things that they can actually do without. So I believe in that. But when God tells me to give,
Yeah, just give it.
I give. And then it's not, I did exactly what God told me to do.
You met your responsibility.
And I'm okay.
Needed. Yeah.
But we need to emphasize God's giving heart. And understand that that's the model we ought to be following. We ought to be giving cheerfully.
Yes.
That's what the Bible says, be cheerful givers. And that's what we need to do. We always need to be just giving cheerfully. Guys, I know there are pastors who are going to get mad at me because we have some pastors watching. But if you're tithing and it's like you're doing it grudgingly, quit. Mm-hmm. Quit tithing. Start giving what you can give cheerfully. Mm-hmm. And now, pastors, don't now that you got mad at me, repent, because what's going to happen is because once you start giving what you can give cheerfully, you'll find out the blessings of giving cheerfully, and you'll be giving more and more and more. And pastor, sooner or later, they're going to be giving more than their tithe.
Right.
Because now it's not something that they feel that they have to do, they get to do, and that makes a big difference.
Those people that are on the side of the road that we are seeing nowadays. When I was young, coming up and just learning to drive and stuff like that, we didn't have any of that begging, that street begging that goes on now. Mm-hmm. Nowhere in the United States did I ever see that, where somebody would come up to the car and do, this is the international sign. They put their hands together and do this. It's an international sign of begging. And when I see somebody doing that, first of all, I mean, it would be so easy to hate them because they're in a wonderfully blessed nation, begging.
And it doesn't do any good that there are some people that take advantage.
Right, but we are admonished not to judge others.
That's right. That's right.
So one of the things that I do is I keep any kind of change I get from any kind of fast food place or anything. Sometimes I just get change anyway. And the easiest way to get change, by the way, I just learned this, is go to the laundromat and put a $20 bill in there, and you get $20 worth of quarters.
Yeah.
Man, it's manna from heaven because then you can put it right there in your little cup holder or your little thing right there on the door, and you can give them 4 or 5 quarters. That's $1.25, and just stick it right out the window. And one time though, now let me tell you, be careful, because one time this guy was receiving the money, the little change that I was giving him, and he tried to take my wedding ring off my hand. So be careful of that. But on the other hand, if you give them, what do you have extra, you want to share it with them, the Lord will use it. The Lord will help make sure it goes where it's supposed to go.
Generosity is actually sowing with joy.
Yeah.
Not out of pressure.
No.
That's generosity. Giving brings joy that receiving can't really bring. And there are early church examples, I love the Acts, in Acts, Acts 2:44 and 45. In fact, you can actually start in 32 and read all the way down. But in 44 and 45 in the New Living Translation, it says, "And all the believers met together constantly and shared everything they had. They sold their possessions and shared the proceeds with those in need." Wow.
And parted them.
Yes.
The King James says, and parted them to everybody, and every man. It wasn't a criteria. There was no criteria. It was just here, 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 here. And So they left it up to the Lord as to how it was going to be used.
Yeah, and if you back up, I want to read this back up. In 4:32 through 35 says, all the believers were of one heart and mind.
Now there you go.
And they felt that what they owned was not their own. Mm-hmm. And they shared everything they had. And the apostles gave powerful witness to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus.
That's right.
And God's great favor was upon them all. Mm-hmm. Now listen to 34 and 35. There was no poverty among them, because people who owned land and houses sold them and brought the money to the apostles and gave to others in need. The apostles gave to others in need.
Right.
Now, guys, this comes into the story of Ananias and Sapphira.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
that they lied to
they
the
wanted
Holy
to get
Spirit.
in on it.
Yeah, they wanted to get on it. They wanted to say, "Hey, look what we did," and they didn't really do it. Yeah,
right.
It's kind of, you got to be careful in doing that.
Don't ever do that.
But look at the community spirit that was involved here. Mm-hmm. Guys, that's what the church is supposed to look like.
Well,
the church is, we should care about each other, especially in the church. You know, now we ought to care about people in the world, but we ought to especially care about the people in the church.
And these churches of the first century churches, mm-hmm. they had something that we don't experience that much, and that is they had unity of purpose. Mm-hmm. They knew what their purpose was. Right. Nowadays, our purpose has kind of drifted off maybe a little bit. Maybe some churches are more on purpose than others. But, unity brings power. Right. And when a church is living and moving and having its being mm-hmm. in lockstep with one another, there's a lot they can do that they just wouldn't even know about otherwise. And we really ought to call for that. Now, if you're looking for some examples, some things that you can do, how about volunteering time? Oh, yes. You know, donating food. Boy, I tell you what, especially with the government being shut down like it was, food is really needed, clothing, resources. How about supporting missionaries? Or local outreaches. In fact, local outreaches. We've got one going on right now here in Channelview. Yes, we've got Every Child Deserves a Christmas. We're doing a Channelview Community Toy Drive. Right. And a brand new toy. Get a brand new toy. Take it to a school. They've got boxes in every school, every fire department. Most churches will have a box. We have a church here in our box that you can come and just drop that brand new toy in there for kids that won't happen. That's the things that you can do. How about helping a single parent? Maybe a veteran. Or do you know someone that is elderly that needs help? Or maybe they just need visiting. Go visit them. That's what giving is all about. It is. It's not just about money. Because I know a lot of people that don't have money, but they have such a giving heart because they give of themselves. Can I take a little moment? Yeah. Uh-huh. So Sunday afternoon, I was called over to what is a new acquaintance house, mm-hmm. and he has he is a caregiver for his mother, who is 94 years old. But his mother is the most spry 94-year-old you can even imagine how, and she's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I'm there the reason that I was called over there was to notarize some legal stuff they were doing. But he had to run to the corner store and get something for them to eat. And while he was gone, he just left me there with his mother, and that was fine. That was fine because I love old people anyway. But here she is. Okay, Melanie, would you do my hair? And I'm going, okay, well, I've never done hair before except my own, and so she had all kinds of 2 or 3 things she wanted me to do while he was out of the room and out of the place. And it was like, I'm here to notarize. It was the attitude I could have taken. But what I took was an attitude of, this might be fun. Yeah. It really might be fun. Let me see if I can do this. I had a hard time with her hair because it was real long and matted up and stuff, but I got it pulled up, and I got it. But when he got back, he was amazed that I was able to just get up from the desk I was sitting at, ready to do all this notarizing and help her. And I said, but aren't we all Christians here?
Yeah.
Then let's see how can we hold one another's arms up.
Well, before we close, because we're coming to another end, I want to give you some facts about Giving Tuesday, like Miss Melanie didn't know.
Right.
It began in 2012 at a small New York nonprofit initiative.
Okay.
It was as a response to the Black Friday, the Cyber Monday, and everything, and now it spans 90 plus countries.
Not just counties.
Not counties, but countries.
Not states.
Yes. It's a global reminder that generosity can push back against greed. Christians lead the world.
Can we please do that?
And the Christians lead the world in charitable giving.
Yes, we do.
Don't ever lose that.
And don't let anybody take that away from you, because
the early church was radically generous. I pray we can get back to it. In the Acts that I read, it describes believers sharing everything that they had, not from obligation, but out of genuine love and unity. A generosity gives credibility to the gospel.
Yes, it does.
That's
a good thing. Write that down.
Yes.
I want to write that down.
Yeah. True giving goes way beyond money, though. Don't think that it's just about money. If that's what you got from this, you missed the mark. It's about giving no matter what is needed. If a person needed their hair done, do their hair. Mm-hmm. If a person needed a ride somewhere, give them a ride. If a person needed your cloak, give them your cloak.
In modern times, this is how this translates. That's scriptural.
Right.
But if you're out during the week, do not go to lunch by yourself. Invite somebody to go with you. Don't ride around by yourself.
Right.
Take somebody with you. Take them where they need to go. And I have a personal friend that's non-hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that word, deaf. She's non-hearing. I pick her up and take her to the one day a month, take her to do all of her little things that she has to buy and pay for, like her storage unit.
Right.
She has to go to various places. I take her to the doctor. It's so easy. I'm going somewhere anyway.
Yeah.
And besides, it gives me an excuse to get out and go shopping myself.
Yeah, there you go.
So, there's a lot of ways to be able to handle that. Don't do anything by yourself.
Right. Now,
Witness.
In closing, I'm going to give you the Bible's view of giving.
Okay.
It includes time, encouragement, forgiveness, service, and hospitality. You can give any of those. It's not just about money.
Right.
Ways anyone and everyone can participate, even if you don't have the financial means. But if you have the financial means, give that too.
Yep.
Just give.
The blessings are great.
In fact, you know what? A good place to give to?
Church.
Yeah.
Because the church disperses it too.
Yes, that's right.
Churches don't hold on to the money.
We'll feed people during Thanksgiving. We'll do different things. We participate in, the Christmas toy drive that the community's doing. We participate in those things. As a church, and the neat thing is when I made a plea to our church, because we need sponsors for the older children because they don't get toys, I said the church was going to sponsor one boy and one girl. Mm-hmm. I had several people go like, well, I want to sponsor one.
Okay.
And I'm
That's
going like,
great.
well, all right. I was just letting them know that the church was going to do that. Mm-hmm. But then they're going like, well, that's great, the church does, but I want to. Mm-hmm. And now this church, we're not a large congregation, but this congregation is going to support several older children, I hate students, because they are older, okay? But we're going to support them for Christmas.
Right.
And if this small church can do that, I know some of the larger churches could. So, but guess what?
We're putting out a call. We're putting out a fleece.
That's right. So if you want to, contact me.
Yeah, we'll tell you
We'll
how.
make sure it happens. I don't care if you live in a Channelview community or not.
Right.
If you want to help, I'll make sure that your donation gets to the children it needs to get to.
Right. We have networks.
That's right. We do.
We do.
And best place to do it is the Channelview Community Toy Drive. The school, the Channelview ministry team, the fire department, and several local businesses
Right.
are really involved in that, making it possible for our community. Right. So go to church a lot. We'll see you next week. God bless, and good night.
Good night.
Thank you for watching, and remember, be in church tomorrow. If you don't have a home church, you really need to find one. The church needs you, and you really need the church.